Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the 3 new hero classes that were added on Monday to Gems of War on PC and mobile. These 3 were the Titan class from Stormheim, the Deathknight class from Ghulvania, and the Divinion Field, or the Oracle class from Divinion Fields. We're going to be going over their 250 win hero weapon. Those took a little bit longer than I initially anticipated to be able to get, but luckily through the process I was also able to max out all the kingdoms. My Sun Crest is now maxed out, so now we get that extra attack, and now we're back to having all the kingdoms maxed out. So today we're going to be going over each one of those classes as well as some teams for each of them. So we'll start off right here with an annoying Corvash Queen Mab team, but we'll throw down our Cryptkeeper and see what the Deathknight class is. This is the one from Ghulvania. As far as this class is concerned, it does have okay perks. Armor is the worst possible perk, but it does have the Dark Gift, which makes it okay. It's really the only perk that it'll basically be using, because you won't really be using it as a knight too often, since there isn't a great deal of synergies that you can do with that, given what the class does. It has immunity to death mark, is pretty notable, and if you get it fully traded, it will place death marks on all enemies. This most notably will be used with things like the Black Beast and the Princess Elspeth, since they can kill out your hero, which would in result give you death mark to all enemies without having to wait for the enemy to do it. Otherwise, you'd likely just put this in first slot, so your skulls from the enemy will be able to kill it. It is another purple class with the 2 purples that they just added. There are 4 purple classes now that end up getting additional damage when using a purple weapon, making it the most popular color then, since most colors don't even have 2 yet. Purple already has 4. And as far as the weapon, a pretty decent one. It places death mark on the first enemy, deals true damage to all enemies below it, and that is boosted based on death marks. And as far as stats, it's relatively average, though with a somewhat lower HP compared to some others. As we can see right there, the background is glitching like crazy, but this should still have a stable battle as we get into that. That box will be removed in a second. There we go. And yeah, a little bit of a visual glitch there. But right now we're going to be testing with the Cryptkeeper right here, the Cryptkeeper weapon that you obtain when you get 250 wins with the new Deathknight class. Off the starting board, we will want to go for Gorgultha mana. Unfortunately, not a single poke of it is available anywhere on the board. We're going with a true damage oriented team here. I have tried it with Def a couple times, and personally I don't really care for it that much. I find it to be better just spamming out a bunch of true damage. Generally is just stronger than it. So we'll throw down the Tesla right here. That will pretty much team wipe the team already. So all we need to really do is get the last of Gorgultha mana if we can. There we go. So we can fire our Gorgultha now. This doesn't look like we will get the crypt weapon yet. Might need to take a manual purple after this move. Oh no, we already won off of Tesla. No, I need to show Tesla, stop being so strong. I need to show it. No, our manas. Well, okay, we're going to need to go retrieve some of that mana then if I want to show it. Obviously, we can win right now with a Tesla, but I do want to show the new weapon. That's the whole point of this video. Generally, with the crypt weapon, one thing I have noticed with it, which is somewhat annoying and really weird for teams in this game, is it has trouble sometimes killing the very first lot on the enemy team. The main reason for this is it doesn't do true damage to the very first lot, whereas generally you can just take skulls and stuff. This team doesn't take skulls basically at all, mainly because you have granite skin, so your Gorgultha can just tank it all. And you've got to be kidding me, we're 1 mana short. So our Gorgultha is probably going to die soon. Not much I can really do about that since we're trying to get the crypt weapon, but there we go. We get the crypt weapon. That will then place death mark on the first lot, deal true damage to the all below it, and then we could just wrap up with a Tesla. And well, we could have actually already wrapped it up, but that's what it does. Is death marks the first, true damage is the other 3, and if any of them happen to already be death marked, it does have a 3 times boost ratio per one that is death marked, meaning that if the entire enemy team was death marked, you could potentially do what would that be? Yeah, 12 additional damage per the 3 that it hits, so 36 total additional true damage to the enemy team if you happen to get them fully death marked up. Another pretty annoying one, basically the exact same team, just with a justice-oriented version of it. I will have to skip this one as the next team I'm going to be using is really bad against freeze. So we'll go into this one. It is personally my absolute favorite team that we can build from the new components of the hero classes that were just introduced. This uses the Princess Elspeth I was mentioning earlier. Essentially what we're going to be doing is using our Princess Elspeth on our hero. This will then death mark all the enemies while giving us a decent amount of green gems onto the board that will help to get our web spinners going. Okay, I will swipe some mana off, even though we don't need it. I want to get some of these unneeded gems off the board, just so we have a slightly higher chance of landing our greens. Though even with this board, it looks like we are going to miss, so I'm just going to take a standard blue, kind of just stall a little bit until a few more green get on the board, and that'll have to be good enough. So we'll cast now. Hopefully it won't miss. We'll get Death Mark on all of the enemies right there. We do get the extra turn very nicely. We also get a skull. We have not yet casted yet to get the poisons off, so that skull did not do triple damage. But as they are poisoned, if you have a fully traded web spinner, all skulls will do triple damage, which is pretty nice, since that will be enough to one-shot most enemies, as long as they don't have anything skull reduction oriented. So we just keep casting this until we inevitably miss, and then we just kind of poke at skulls and go from there. Though at this point, it does look like we have a relatively decent loot going on here. And there we go with a random skull. We didn't even need the triple damage there. That would have been enough damage regardless. And there's the inevitable miss. Oh, never mind. It does not want to miss. We might go all the way with this, which would be lovely. Can we go all the way? No, you're so close. And there goes one of the death marks. Good thing that triggered. That death mark was, of course, courtesy of our Deathknight class that we ended up killing out at the beginning of the battle. Doesn't really matter what weapon it uses. You just have to set it to a single color of the color that you wish to create, and then it will create a bunch of that color, and then you'll get death marks on all the enemy team. And it works out pretty nice. We barely even really needed that death mark. The web spinners alone off the Elspeth mana that we got off our hero was pretty much enough to win. Just in itself, but there we go. That's personally my favorite team. Really, really bad against freeze though, and do be careful with that. So let's go on to the next class now. Which one should we do? We will have to pay 50 gems every single time. I do not advise really skip or switching your class like this. Generally, you will want to wait for the entire timer to go out before you switch your class. But since we're showing it for this video, we're just going to be paying the 100 gems. I guess we will do the Oracle next. Sure, let's do the Oracle. So let's switch over to the Oracle now. Go into PvP, see what we're up against. Anything? Should be able to take that out with this. Oracle is, as far as the weapon, it's more towards the weaker side, mainly because it's so ridiculously random. As far as the class itself, I could definitely see it having some good potential with creeping death and stuff like that. But let's go into the customization for it and go over everything. Perks are about as good as they can really get. HP plus the magic combo, I don't really think there's a better combination that you can have for perks. The best three are HP and magic, attack and magic, and HP and attack are the three best combinations you could possibly have as perks on the first two perks as far as what is currently available. And of course, every single class has a different troop type that it can be changed into. This one can be changed into a centaur, which is okay for Divinion Field since there are allotted centaurs there. It also synergizes really well with its final trait, which is all centaurs gain 2 magic when an enemy casts a spell. And of course, this includes your hero if you are set as a centaur. Though if you have a different perk, it will not occur. You will have to set your perk to a centaur if you do want to go a fully traded route. Again, this is another purple, 4 total currently in the game. They're going crazy with the purples. It is really tanky, really low attack, but it has a decent armor and HP. So that's pretty helpful. Staff of Visions it's really, really random. Personally, I don't feel like I'll be using it much, but if you need a single target buff, it could definitely be useful. It gives an ally stats to a random skill, then gives them barrier and 3 to 10 mana. So we'll go throw this down. Of course, we're going to be using a full Divinion Field team. There isn't really much else you would really use this class with unless you're soloing or unless you're using the class for the sole purpose of gaining magic. The most useful centaur that's currently within Gems of War that you can possibly use this class with is the Astral Spirit. The main reason for this is the fact that it does true damage, plus it has some board control on top of visibility. Everything else in the centaurs doesn't really gain too huge of a benefit. Surprisingly, one other thing that is somewhat okay to buff with it as well is the Dragon Tar. Even though you would generally use the rest of your team as dragons, one pretty nice thing about that is it does raise the stats on all other dragons. So you would be able to get quite a bit of additional attack and armor from casting it if you're constantly getting additional magic from the enemy team casting. Generally, this would be used, this class in general, to counter out things like the Alchemist Hellcat combo, the Green Seer Giant Spider combo, and basically any kind of team build that likes to cast over and over and over again, because you can punish the enemy team for casting so much by gaining a lot of additional magic. And ideally, if you were to go with a weapon for this, I'd probably say Creeping Death would be your best option. Any purple weapon that can deal a huge amount of damage to the enemy would be quite good. So we'll let him do that. I'm even going to leave that skull there because there isn't much of a benefit we can do until we get it marked. So we are going to mark it right here. Hopefully we can get some cascades off the board. One thing to note, if you don't already know, is if you explode skulls from the board when a enemy is hunter marked, those skulls will do twice as much damage. Generally, you may think that it's only from the actual swiping of the skulls, but yeah, any way that you do skull-oriented damage, even if that is from explosions, will still do twice as much, which is a pretty nice benefit from it. Orion's getting relatively low on its durability, so I might just shield it up now, because we can keep our first slot alive relatively easy. So right here I am going to throw that down, and then the really next turn we are going to buff it up to make sure it doesn't die, which it may end up doing if it gets an extra turn here. Okay, good. It did not end up landing the extra turn, so we can just move that to the side, move everything that's an extra turn over to the side, and let me take an Astral Spirit right here. That will be enough for the kill. We'll also end up getting the extra turn from right there, and we'll take the free skull. Maybe I should have Orioned that one. Gosh, that would have been a kill right there. I mean, not Orion, Hunter marked to that one. Well, yeah, both of them are the same thing. So we'll take the skull right here. That should be a kill. No, we did not get it. The randomness. That is one thing I really hate about Orion as well as this weapon in general. Both of which are excessively random to the point that they could backfire a lot. Right here, I am going to finally go for the shield. We get HP on it, and of course we do get the armor. You can see every single time they cast, we are gaining those magic buffs, which is pretty nice. He did get a new tank right up front there from the cast off the Christinex. He is going to poke on a skull. We do not have enough attack to really do anything, so we're just going to go for a explosion right here. Just make sure we get Astral Spirit back up, and we can kind of start rolling from here. Take another skull. That will be a kill regardless. We'll then be able to Astral Spirit down the next one, and the main thing we'll really have to worry about is Christinex constantly casting, since we don't have a really good way of removing that. Speaking of removing, we will take away green here. Green is the absolutely most unneeded color we need, and it's also the most needed color that he needs, so it works out perfectly for us. There are 2 skull piers here, and we will end up casting before we take one, simply because that will double our effectiveness of skulls. So we'll throw a little poke right there. We do hit True Shot, though that is not enough damage due to the stone skin. He does end up getting the kill there, and we are getting extremely low on our team durability right now, to the point where it is potential, we could potentially lose right here. Hopefully we do not. We do get a nice poke there. It looks like, oh, we didn't get an extra turn. That's not good, so he will end up dying. We do still have our Astral Spirit, which I'll probably keep to kill that off with. Worst come to worst, I guess we should make our Astral Spirit bigger. It's a little bit of a sticky situation then. We already have enough skull damage, so I am going to do that. Make our Astral Spirit really big, and that'll be just what wins us the team, because it is buffing the most out of anything here, gaining that extra true damage, which will sooner than later will be enough to just one-shot the enemy team on pretty much everything that we do. So right here I am going to go for an Astral Spirit, use it on greens again, since it does use mostly green for its abilities, and we'll need to start getting that Astral Spirit back up as far as mana. And come on, purple. Oh, that would have been nice if that was a purple drop right there. And let's see, where can we go for some decent manas? I mainly want to go for the Astral Spirit manas right here. They're way more important than anything else we could be taking. But yeah, all dragon teams still really, really powerful. That hasn't really changed anytime soon. And there's the next dragon, for any of you that don't know, is also... Oops, did I leave that there? That's really bad if I did. The next dragon that's going to be, or the next mythic that's coming to the game is going to be a mythic dragon as well, which is pretty nice. Let's see. We're in a really, really bad situation here, and we did not even get a surge right off of that. The main problem right here is that meat shield and the fact that we can't kill out the Christine X right now. That is really important that we get that killed, and currently we do not have any option to do so. We're going green right here, but inevitably it looks like he's going to get another summon unless we can miraculously get all of our Astral Spirit mana up right now and get a free turn. There is no way we're going to be able to stop that additional summon unless we like sacrifice our hero, which we may have to come down to that, to sacrificing our hero right now to be able to make that happen. Can we drop the blues into a skull? Too bad. Wait, no. Yes, that will work because I'll drop the skull right there. Oh, that will work. As long as we get a surge, it'll work. Though we will lose our hero if I do it. I think it is worth it. We could cast our hero off, do like a whole like shuffle of things, but if we just do this, I'll drop the skull so he gets distracted by the skull. We will then be able to cast our ability off right here, and then we can go from there using just our buffed up Astral Spirit. And as I did say, Astral Spirit and just using your hero weapon, probably with a Creeping Death, are likely the two best options for this hero class, and possibly even the only two options. I have tested this weapon a couple times, and as you can see right now, as we are doing it again, not the strongest. Definitely not the strongest out there. The only, personally, out of all three of the weapons, the only one I think we'll ever even use is the Crypt weapon from the Deathknight class, as true damage is always good. True damage is never not good. So that's a nice thing to always have. And the fact that it can place a Death Mark is always pretty useful. Death Mark in general has always been pretty strong, especially after they buffed it. So right here, let's go on to... Oh, I was just about to use it on yellow. That would have been a pretty dumb move. I kind of want to use it on brown or green, but neither of which are really populated on the board right now. I guess I'll use it on brown because he does use it. And oh, I forgot, that's already enough damage because we have so many buffs on our Astral Spirit from the hero class that it had enough damage to kill. I thought that battle would have to go for another 2 cast, but I forgot about like the 10 additional magic that ended up getting. So there we go. Not the most ideal of battles, but that's the result. And let's go down to the final class now. This one also is more towards the weaker side, though as more giants are added to the game, it could definitely have some lethal potential. It would also be an extremely decent class whenever it is a giant weak. The Titan, of course, is from the Stormheim. Traits are one of those better combinations that I said earlier. It does have the HP and the attack combo, though if you are fully trading it, you would never use it as anything other than a giant, because its final trait is all giants start battle with 50% additional mana, which of course includes your hero. If you have it set as a giant, if you have it set as any of the perks, it will not count. And yeah, the Thorodin deal damage to an enemy, and half of that damage to adjacent enemies, which is a lot better than the single 1 damage that a lot of them do. Like, oh, there's little split things, and they were basically pointless and were never changed from the start of the game. So it's really nice that they finally added a ability that is able to split that damage a bit more, and it's boosted by ally and enemy giants by a really huge ratio, 6 times. So of course that's a total of 24 if you do go a full-blown giant team, and that is exactly what we are going to be doing here. There aren't really too many options for all giant teams as of currently, particularly if we are sticking with just Stormheim. I almost feel like skipping this. Emperor Corvash, you've been so annoying lately. Let's see. I think I may, because I'm starting with a double Yarrow on my first slots, which generally a Corvash would be pretty easy to deal with. But since our entire mana generation is off a double Yarrow... Oh gosh, you gotta be kidding me, Queen Mab. I might just have to do this one. I'm still slightly scared of it. At least with this particular team. Anytime I ever have any loopage. Okay, we'll just go for the Cerberus. It's still very dangerous as well. but manageable, dangerous. So we'll throw this down. At least we won't have our Yarrows losing all their mana instantly, because they are literally 100% of our mana generation. The idea here is to get the Yarrows up as quickly as possible, which will be pretty easy since we are getting the 50% additional mana on all the Giants. And then just rushing his ability, casting it over and over again. Kind of similar to the Web Spinner team, except slightly less consistent, and kind of going from there. But yeah, there really aren't that many good Giant options these days. Yarrow's about the best troop out there as far as Giants are concerned, and he's relatively random. So he's not even the best option. Of course, the other one is Jotnar, and generally Jotnar would not be good, but Jotnar, under the context of using a full Giant team, is good. And since the hero also is pretty decent with using a full Giant team, they kind of synergize together okayly. 1 mana short, and I might have to throw this off. Something interesting that I just noticed now is both of us are starting with half mana. Him because he has the Forest Guardian right there off of that 50%, and us, of course, because of our hero. And we both slotted it in 3rd slot, too. So we'll throw that over. We get burn on a good majority of his team. We will go for the skull there. I need to get those Cerberuses dead as quickly as we possibly can. I think I'm going to leave the first one alive with 1 HP, because we can just burn it. Yeah, there we go. Never mind, we already did it right now. So we can burn it. No need to waste a poke on just 1 HP when we can have the burn from Yarrow. So his whole entire team's burned right now. We basically just keep looping until we want to do something else. If we could get a 1-shot, that would be great. Let's see, we have 4 Giants, 3 shields. That's 35 damage. That is... No, if we had shields on everything, we would be able to do that. So let me get 1 more poke in, and that will definitely be enough damage if we get an extra turn. And we do miss the extra turn, unfortunately. Hopefully he does not get the spirit off. Okay, good. He does not get it off. We do not have enough damage to kill him. We can kill out the Cerberus right now, which I believe I will go for, as that seems to be about the safest thing we can do, getting rid of any chance of him to be able to devour. That is boosted based on all Giants we have on the team, which is literally our entire team, as well as barriers, which was every single troop except our hero. So that ended up working out pretty well. And we just keep doing the arrows and basically until we win. Haven't been able to get the hero weapon off yet, though. I might need to go get that up just so we can, of course, show the weapon in action. I'd prefer to show it if we could get those shields off. So let me go... Let's start on the giant spider just to make sure it doesn't get any summons on us. Ooh, we do completely miss the extra turn right there, even though it was a somewhat okay board for setup. He'll cast his little thing off, hopefully. Just get that off already, so we don't have to deal with it. So there that goes. Still keeping our colors on the board at least, so we can keep poking at those. Goals in general, I'm probably just going to leave there. We do get some of the blues that we need. There goes his barrier. And maybe we can finally get this cast off. We'll lower that down. The skull gets a little bit of our mana. Distract him with a skull. Go from there. I do want to keep him alive so we can do the split damage against it. Though it doesn't look like we have any reds anywheres in sight whatsoever. Not red. Blue nowhere's in sight. So we'll just bring that red down. He is going to create a little spider here, creating a bunch of purples as well, which he doesn't really use anymore since we killed everything that does on his team. There is a lot of green on this board, which we do not use, which is getting annoyingly in the way. I do want to keep that alive just so we can kind of show it. So let me get rid of this spider then. And no, we did not get the last of our blue, nor is there anywhere where we can really lower it. So I'm probably just going to have to go for a cast here. Let's see, we have 30 additional damage. That will be enough to kill the little spider. So we'll do just that, get that out of the way. And it does look like he's about to get another Guardian Shield down. Though we can finally take the blue that we need to be able to get the weapon off. But the only problem with that is he's going to barrier to the point where we can't show the damage off of it. But he just gives us a bunch of skulls, so at least he's kind in that regard. And we'll just take that skull right there. That'll bring him down pretty low. And can we take a free skull? Doesn't look like it, so I will let him take that. But we will kill him off with the split damage right here. Feels weird being able to kill something with the split damage. But what we can do here is cast this right there, and then the adjacent damage should end up killing it like that. Even if it has a barrier, of course, it still does the damage. It doesn't nullify your damage to 0. It still does the damage and then splits it, so that's pretty nice. Most notably, that is used with Gloomleaf. because even though it has a 50% chance to return all damage, even when you barrier and shield all the damage, it still does 50% reflect to however much it should have done, which is something pretty nice. And that's a mechanic that works for the Rodin weapon as well. Even if they barrier and technically take 0 damage, the amount of damage that should have been reflected or done to adjacents or anything like that is still done to its full amount, regardless of how much damage they take. So that's somewhat helpful. To just give it a skull right there, but we really just need the mana to get the Yarrows going again, and then we're kind of good to go from there, because that would be match. All we have to do is just kill that little giant spider. I shouldn't say little, it's a giant spider, and then that will be the match. Can we get the skull? No skull. So we'll just have to throw Yarrow a couple times, and that will have to be good to go. So we'll throw that again. And okay, Jotnar. Do we have enough barriers for that? We have 30 additional damage as of currently. I think that is enough. That is indeed enough. So we'll throw to Jotnar, throw to the true damage, and down it goes. So those are the 3 new hero classes that were recently added to Gems of War. Definitely a lot of fun as far as how powerful they are. Personally, my absolute favorite is both the Deathknight traits as well as the Deathknight weapon in general. I've found that, I don't know, personally I just found the Deathknight class to be so much stronger than the other two. The other two are extremely situational as to what you would end up using them in. But anyways, that'll wrap it up for this video. One thing that I did end up doing earlier today is I did start a Patreon. I'll have more on this on Sunday as to details with that and everything, but the link for that will be somewhere on screen right here, probably in this general area-ish. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.